sent a message off to my wife. I'm like, fuck, I pulled it off. I'm on a flight anyway.
Welcome back to the Insiders Podcast. This week, there is two of us, and it's myself and another special guest. He might be now part Hawaiian after some of the escapades out on his trip, but I'm pleased to announce that Daz is back.
Hey, brah.
How's it going?
Good, Uncle Matt. How's Europe been treating you in my absence?
Oh, to be honest, Europe actually turned on a little bit. We got some good waves. Obviously, Portugal was on while you was out in Hawaii, and the UK kind of lit up a little bit as well. I got jealous of your surf trip, so I had a little surf trip inside the UK down west with some of the boys.
Domestic.
Yeah. But no one wants to hear about UK surf trips when we've got.
I think it lit up here as well a little bit, but I did the famous, when you're not at home, don't check your home surf report. Like you're not gonna worry about what you're missing out on, even though it's incredibly hard not to, because they're your spots. That's the thing. They're your spots. Like, you go somewhere, if you do go somewhere and you get dogged, what's the first thing you're going to think when you get back and someone says, it's fucking pumping, man? You're like, yeah.
Well, that's, I always do that whenever I come down to France to see you guys and stuff, always the week after, it seems like you then following it a bit closer, and it just seems like you miss it even more, especially when you've just been there. So, but yeah, definitely. I mean, even doing domestic UK trips, and then you look at your home break for that day as well, and you see it's like cooking when it wasn't forecast to be, and you're like,
The one advantage we've got is if you're leaving somewhere in Europe to go somewhere warm water anywhere in the world, you soon don't give a fuck what the waves are telling back home when you walk down the beach in board shorts, do you?
No. Well, that's the thing is Europe might have turned on and the UK might have turned on, but it was pretty windy and definitely like hood, boots, gloves kind of situation, especially in the UK. And you're paddling out in boardies, so.
Hey, saying that, and hopefully as we build up a bit of an audience, you can send us a message whenever you want. At least when you drive for a surf, you don't have to deal with the fucking planes, trains, automobile rigmarole that actually traveling puts you through. Because I mean, I hadn't left the country in a plane. I hadn't been on a plane since the start of the pandemic. I just pulled the pin on it. I had other things to do, and I've done a fair bit of that previously, and I was like, this is sick. Like when I was young, I just used to get goosebumps thinking about traveling. And as I walk through, we can kick off with a minor classic does a disaster. As I walk through the first check-in at Bordeaux, sit down on the other side, ping on the phone, they say, here's a 5-hour delay on your flight from Paris, which meant I missed my first connection from Seattle to Honolulu. So I had to look at changing flights because otherwise I'd missed the day. And I found one to LA. So when I got to Paris, I ran across the terminal. Like, people would say, and I ask them, guys, where do you go? They give you the wrong directions, and you just trust your instincts. And this time I did. And I made it to the Delta desk in time. And he's like, you got 3 minutes. Don't talk to me. And I was like, shut my mouth. And I got you on. So he gets me on this flight to LA, and I go, what about the baggage? And he's like, if it doesn't make it, just go and tell them when you get there and they'll send it on. And I'm like, fuck. And I sent a message off to my wife. I'm like, fuck, I pulled it off. I'm on a flight anyway. And I go sit down and get on my flight to LA. And the plane's actually a bit haggis, like a little bit older with small screens and stuff. And 3 hours into the flight, this is the captain speaking, we've got a small problem with the hydraulic system. We've actually got 3 hydraulic systems, but it's a long flight and it would be negligent to run on 2. we're going back to Paris. So the girl in front of me starts crying. The plane turns around and goes back to Paris. And I stayed in Paris for the night at a hotel.
That's not just a normal. That's not a small disaster. I mean, I guess that's the scale of how many disasters you've been through, and find yourselves in. But
somehow I rolled through this, and like then like this could go on. I won't let it, even though I could, for hours, because somehow I found this help desk at the airport, which I probably shouldn't have found. And luckily it was Air France, and I booked with Air France. And they sorted me with a free hotel, obviously, which they should, free dinner and everything. And it went kind of super smooth. And they tracked down my board bag as well.
Oh, nice. See, I would have expected that bit to go worse for you after everything.
It was not, and as it was, I had to get up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. to catch the 7 o'clock flight start within Bordeaux, where I went the night before to a hotel. Like, it's a mission. When you got a 7 o'clock kickoff flight, which is 2 hours from your house, and I stayed in this sick hotel which had a huge bed, and I slept in till 7:30. So the actual next day delayed flight worked out to be better, except then the last flight of that one from Seattle to Honolulu got delayed 2.5 hours, meaning instead of getting in there at 9 o'clock, I got in there at 11, and the guy that had to pick me up, had to stay up all night to come pick me up.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the fucking
disasters.
Beat just the trouble beat, man. That's not even disaster. It's just normal stuff, man. You're thinking like this and it happens to everyone, because I was sitting there at the desk thinking, why me? And I hear this guy like 4 meters away, and he was going, and then I went to there, and then I went to there, and it just happens. You stay at home, nothing happens. Leave your home, stuff's going to happen.
That's how you learn. So talk to me, right? So you land in Hawaii. Where are you staying, location-wise?
I'm staying at a mate's place, who's now a really good mate, in Haleiwa.
Okay, so... which
is a 45-minute drive from Honolulu International Airport.
Okay, cool. So paint me the picture. Where's that, like, walking?
Haleiwa is like if you put up your left hand, and you hold your left hand, and then you put up your right hand and you hold them like a ruler's distance apart. Your left hand is Haleiwa and your right hand is Sunset Beach. And that 30 centimeters that you're holding up is like 10 kilometers, and it's like a 20-minute drive from left to right.
And the place you're staying, walking distance to the beach, or? No.
I rented his place and a car.
Right. Okay. Cool. No disasters with the car?
Yeah, kinda. Not really. It had very stiff steering, and on 5 or 6 times I couldn't find the key, but I found it each time. Because he's like, don't, and I'm like, that's all right. I'll buy one of those locks, little boxes.
Yeah.
And you just, and he's like, no, they just smash them off. It's just, you got to stash the key somewhere. So you're stashing the key somewhere always, and hoping that people aren't looking at stashing the key. And in your intricacy of stashing methods, you can always outstash yourself. That's the problem, which I did at least 3 times.
That's mental. So you sparked some thought in terms of when you say they smash them off. I've heard, and I'm pretty certain it's worse when you hear about it from being there, like rumours that the North Shore can be a pretty unforgiving place if you stick out. Did you experience that, or being with someone who's like from there?
Nah, not at all. I didn't see it at all. And I was by myself, because I wasn't with him. He had his own life to live. I just had this car and I was driving around. I think it's like, if you go to one of my best mates' place up in northeast England, Middlesbrough, near Middlesbrough, and you walked around at night, you'd be 1,000 times more scared than anywhere on the North Shore. If you see some dude walking along the beach in the morning with tats all over him and pretty brown, muttering, "Oh, my mobile phone, so I lost my mobile phone." If someone told me it's there over at the beach, you just don't say anything.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say that on the back streets of London, would you?
No, probably not. So when we spoke to Jackson Baker, his one of his do's and don'ts to us was say hello to everybody.
Yeah, but you're not going to say hello to some potential smackhead that you see walking
No, but I
past.
mean, did you try and employ his?
Yeah, to a certain respect. I think
that's the French. That's the French in you, not saying hello to people, Daz.
No, it just depends. If people look at you, you say hello. Jackson's walking in a different scale to me because he's on the front beach there along Pike, and he's there in pro season, and you've got a whole lot of locals that are looking at guys probably walking past with stickers on their board thinking you fucking little shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's a lot younger than me, where I'm an older dude, with a couple of grey hairs and a moustache, and I'm not going to fucking bow down and say hello to every ho daddy Jim Bob that walks past me. Just like, when do you stop? Yeah, hello, good day, hello. You say hello to. I made a lot of friends there, people I've never met before, and that's from talking to them. So that'll happen, but
Yeah. Well, it's always.
You're not showing respect to someone by. I think it's all in the delivery.
Yeah. So next thing, talk to me about the waves. And what I mean by that, what I'm interested in, first of all, is talk to me about Hawaiian power is a term that we hear a lot.
Well, there's plenty of it.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way, like especially for you, it's a little bit different for me coming from here where we've got a lot of Atlantic power here, like a lot. And I didn't see a whole lot extra pound for pound, but you got to admit, I was there for 2 weeks in between. Like I got there at the back end of an XL swell. So yeah. I just got there on a mild 2 weeks. I was surfing 10 foot, which is like my biggest day when I was out there, and there was dude go, oh man, this is great. This is just fun.
Yeah.
And it was, but like you can imagine, and I heard a podcast even while I was there with Robert Bartholomew saying, man, we surfed 6 to 8 foot sunset and we thought we'd surfed Hawaii. And then in the middle of the night, they had thundering roar.
Yeah. But that's exactly what happened to me coming down to France for the first time. Is Fipsy's little boy Jay was like, oh yeah, come out, it's like super fun. And I was with Spacko Jacko, Silent Jack, and paddled out. And I remember it was like the second duck dive, and I kind of looked at this wave and thought it wasn't even that big. I can like lazily duck dive under it, and the lip landed on my back, and I was like, Jesus, like this is mental. So that's why I was interested to ask you, because obviously you've surfed a lot of the time around the world.
We've got a deep channel coming in here, but compared to like where I come from, Sunshine Coast, like you could triple the power. Where Sunshine Coast, beautiful waves, and sometimes really hollow and everything, but like feathery lips and fun and everything. And like I didn't surf pipe. I wasn't going to pretend, to be someone I wasn't. And even I checked it a whole bunch of times because I thought if it looks good and it's not crowded, I even had my gaff, but it never really looked good and it never didn't look crowded. Yeah. So and the guy I was staying with is fucking hellman, man. He surfs Himalayas. He was like, oh, we should have towed yesterday and stuff. And he's got this big book in his living room, which I read from front page to back page, and it was about Hawaiian big wave royalty and big waves. And he's like, yeah, man, what would you go surf pipe for and surf 3 hours to get one wave, and if you fall off, you can cut your head open when you're on holiday. And like, I'm not getting paid to get pictures, am I? So there's tons of other waves to surf there, which are more fun for a general surfer with less vibe. So leave the vibe for the people that I guess want the vibe.
Yeah.
Or have to get the shot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing as well, is that the other thing with pipe is I completely agree with everything you just said there, and the guy who you're staying with agree with what he said. The other factor as well is if you're out there and you're not 100% comfortable, you could cause someone else to then fall and crack their head, and that's on a level, if not worse. So I mean, I wouldn't. And
what if you wait 3 hours for a wave and just have a mind blank and swing on something, think, oh, finally, and you got like a hellman behind you.
Yeah.
And you didn't even see him, and you just fully burning.
I've always wondered, like, I wouldn't even like if I was out there, sat there for 3 hours, not got away from like right on the paddle in. I'd be worried that something would swing wide behind me or something would happen, and then suddenly I'm in the right place, and then I've got to go, and I don't want to go.
Saying that, I saw this older guy that I become friends with, who's a real estate agent there. He'd lived there for, I don't know if he was born there or 30 or 40 years. He was 60, surfing Sunset on his 8-foot JC, John Carpenter. And it wasn't blatant. He didn't see him. Dropped in on this dude that looked like Sonny Garcia's little brother.
Wow.
And not that much little. Solid dude. He was out there ripping. And I thought, fuck, Carl. I thought, oh no. But then I saw him later on out on the peak, not too much further after, and I heard the guy go, yeah, I can't. And there was no dramas at all.
All right. He must have some respect for something out there, because
that's just as well. It's just changed a lot from what it was.
Yeah,
a lot of people told me that before I went, and I can't vouch for any of it apart from the fact that I found it very mellow. No one yelled at me.
Nice. I mean, it does help when it's like this. Obviously, counteracts what you've just said a slight bit, but it does help when it's your local. I surfed the local today, and a kid literally just ran straight over his mate, like fin straight across his back, basically. I don't know how he got away with it, and they paddled back out laughing with each other. And I said to him, because I know the kid, and I said, "You're lucky." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I went, "Well, if you didn't know him, he'd probably be strangling you with his leash right now." But that's cool. I mean, that's good for other people and other listeners to know that it's not as bad as it can be sometimes portrayed, that people are like getting beaten up.
Well,
I don't know. Didn't Fipsy get punched out there?
No. That was in France many years ago, maybe. Well, he might have.
No. Fipsy did. There's a good story. Maybe we'll get him to tell it one day. But there's a good story where
we'll get him on when he comes back.
He got punched by someone scary. I'm pretty certain it was like Johnny Boy or someone. And it's a funny story because Fipsy is like the nicest person in the world, isn't he? But yeah. So tell us a bit more then about the waves, because I've seen some photos which I thought were sick, and we'll use those for the Instagram that we put up, so everyone will see them before they listen to this, which is good. But tell us, like, where did
it was like the first I got there was like 15 foot. It was like 6 to 8 foot Hawaiian when I surfed in the morning, and I was like, I'd only had 3 hours sleep. And it looked super fun, and it was like twice as big as what it looked. And it was still kind of fun. It was just a really hard wave to surf because it's got a lot of rip taking it out. You don't really know where to sit. And, that was my first day, and I didn't want to drop in on anyone. And there wasn't really many people out there. My friend surfed with me. And then after that, I drove up to the main strip, which was, like I said, it's like a 15-20 minute drive, and that's where I kind of had a cerebral overload, because I pulled up at Pipe and I went and had a look there, and it was like second reef capping and 10 foot plus barrels coming through, but there was a bodyboard comp on, which I got nothing against bodyboards, but it was a pity because that was the biggest day, and I would have liked to have seen some of the local good pipe surfers thread.
Yeah.
So then I got back in the car, and then I went to Sunset and couldn't, I got lost just trying to find where to park. It was stupid because it's actually a car park across the road from it. But it came so quick that I didn't even know. It's like, it's like 3 minutes drive. And then I went around on the front beach, and it was 15 foot plus out the back. And I was like, you're going like, is there anyone out there? And then you see set, you see like 20 big guns with people sitting on them go over the set. And what I noticed actually overstay is the bigger it gets, the more crowded it gets. Because when it's under 6 foot, they don't care. And that day when there was guys out there, and there was, I guess, young guys or old guys, I don't know, but guys taking off on 9-footers. And, they weren't just 9-foot boards. They weren't just cruising. They were like flying on these boards, like surfing them how they should be surfed.
Yeah.
So that'll put the electricity into your veins. And I know a lot of people, that's happened to a lot of people. One of my best friends went there when Mick went there when he was probably 20. And their first day they got there, and I remember him come back and saying the guys took him from the airport straight pipe and told them that was like 2 foot, and they walked down on the beach and it was 10 foot plus, and they were just going, whoa.
The worst thing is, I don't know who it is. I'm pretty sure it's Paul Evans, who I know you know, but I'm sure I listened to a poddy with him tell me about a time where he was like 21 or 22 and he got taken to Hawaii with some good surfers. And I think it was Andy King. Yeah, no, it was. It was Andy King telling the story as well. And Kingy, like, they rocked up, and
I've heard that story.
And he didn't paddle out or something. And I always felt sorry for Paul Evans, because I was probably be like, well, it depends on how big it is. But if he's a UK guy coming from UK surf and you rock up in Hawaii and it's giant, it's a different game.
But I remember Paul telling me how much he loved Hawaii one time he came into Euroglass, and I remembered that. So I gave him a call about it, and he gave me a few pointers before I went as well, because you want pointers as well from normal people that you relate to. You're not going to ring up
Cool.
Kami Abaddon or
Jack Freestone
or Russell Bjerke and say, hey, what do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, there's a fucking hell slab there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, leave that to me. I'll go and surf slabs all day.
I think it's, and if it isn't, it should be at least on every surfer's bucket list, and not even in the respect that you've got to go there and charge or anything, because you don't. It's just such a beautiful spot to see, and it's where surfing originally kicked off, unless it's hard to know in the debate whether it kicked off there or Tahiti. And it's got a lush, beautiful landscape. The water's incredibly warm, like it was 24, 25 degrees.
That's mad.
The water's clear. You're sitting there on your board and a turtle will pop up right next to you. It's kind of hard to not be impressed.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you say that it should be on everyone's bucket list as a surfer. I completely agree. It's on mine. I would say that it's not number one on mine, because I think there's other places that I would like to go that I think maybe are a bit.
I don't think, and this is what this legend told us one year in West Java. This guy was hardcore, Alex Gray, incredible surfer. And he went to, we knew he went to Hawaii a few times and our friends told him. He was a good friend of Gary Appleton. He charged, and he's like, yeah, fuck, it's unreal, but it's crowded, man. He's like, and we were in Indo, and he's going, look, there's a Brazilian, there's an Australian, there's a Hawaiian. They all come here, because the spots in Indonesia, there's nothing better in quality, in surf wave quality.
Yeah.
The rest of the experience can always vary depending on whereabouts in Indonesia you go, what problems you encounter, because if you think there's no disasters waiting for you in Indonesia, you're in for a shock. But wave quality wise, I think that's probably number one.
Yeah.
But everyone's got different tastes too, huh?
Yeah.
Like South America, who wouldn't want to go to Peru? I met a Peruvian and a guy from Chile there. Incredible waves and incredible culture.
I've got a good friend right now who's actually out with his daughter in Costa Rica, and it looks phenomenal. And he's been to Bali. He lived in Western Australia for a long time. He's been all over. He was a very, very high level windsurfer, and he messaged me and he said Costa Rica's up there with the places he's been. So there's a lot of places.
Let's face it, there's so many places, and everyone's got different tastes, and that's the beauty of surfing.
Yeah, but I think that's the beauty of Hawaii as well, is probably in every single surfer, or I think most surfers' top 5 places, like if they said like take money out of it, take time out of it, take travel out of it, if you could like teleport to one place and you had 5 picks, I think Hawaii features in nearly everybody's.
Hey, you can drive down the road, and if park your car, you get out of your car and you got to cross the road and it's a bit busy, cars stop for you.
Yeah.
Do you get that in London?
No.
You don't get it in France, there. You
got
to run on a zebra crossing.
Yeah.
Their cars stop for you. If you've got to pull out, cars stop for you. They'll stop and wave you out. And it's kind of nothing that makes you really feel more comfortable than that, until you get to the supermarket and it's $8 for a pack of cornflakes. So there, the rumours are true. It's outrageous, the prices, even in the supermarket. It's really hard to cut your budget down
Yeah.
Even rice was expensive.
I didn't expect that, to be fair. I hadn't heard that it was that expensive. I don't know why. I didn't expect it to be super cheap, but I didn't expect it to be that expensive. But that is
honestly, if you can get away with it, like problem is you have a 3-hour surf, you're starving.
Yeah.
Starving. And do you say, I'm going to go home and spend a half an hour cooking something up? Or you go, I'll just go and get a burrito, or I'll just go and get like a poke bowl. It's only $10. I'll get a drink. I'll get that. And then it's $15. So if you do that 3 times a day, because you got 3 meals a day, well, you don't have to do it for breakfast, depending on where you're staying for, but you're looking at least minimum $30 US a day to eat, which isn't outrageous, but it's not shoestring either. Like, $10 US a day in old time Bali, and you can get away with it if you're vegetarian.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about boards. What did you take, and did you then surf any others?
I took a 6'4", a 6'9", and a 7'7", and I debated a lot about 6'4", but I'd seen the forecast, and I wanted it's a good board for good waves, and I wanted it if it was medium size and fun. And I never surfed it, but that's kind of because I kind of hurt my leg as well on the first week, like trying to avoid the reef. And then I switched back to my bigger boards, and even they weren't big enough. Like my 7'7" wasn't close to being big enough the first day when I was looking at sunset. My friend had a 9'6" under his house that was KO Belly had left there. And it was actually this, I think he's Peruvian, Gabriel Villaran's board. And it was thick, man, big flat deck, Hawaiian, Haleiwa surf board, and like 3.5 inches thick. Quite light though, quad. And I took that back from my first session at Sunset, and it went insane. Like insane in the respect that super easy to paddle into, really good entry into the wave, and really fast along the wave. Like, you're not doing arcs on a 9'6", but I got 3 or 4 fantastic waves on it. And then I hounded Belly for the week before I left, and then a few times when I was there, because he's got a bunch of boards there, and he hooked me up to surf this 9'6" that I shipped to Hawaii for him years ago from Euroglass. A Fipsy quad with a big thick stringer, and it went incredible at Sunset as well. And then my mate lent me, he had a 7'11" kind of nearly fish nose quad, which went insane. That was the one where the leg rope, I told you about that, the leg rope ripped off. I was on Jack and got washed out to sea, and I found it somehow. And then he also had this 8'4" out the back of his house that was fully yellow and heavy. And he said, that board goes insane. And I had that on probably the next biggest session. It actually went really good too.
So you surfed, so for 14 days, you surfed quite a lot of boards out there.
Yeah. And the 7'7", my Magic 7'7" just went incredible. And I never surfed my 6'4" that I took.
So what were they? 6'4" Bradley?
6'4" Bradley, Diamond Tail, 6'9" Fipsy, one-bar egg swallowtail quad, 7'7" Fipsy swallowtail quad.
Yeah.
And then 8'4" rounded pin classic thick gun, and then 2 9'6" quads.
Was Belly there when you went there then? Or was he?
No, but he's got equivalent boards there.
Yeah. Did you see?
Because he's smart, and like I'd like to have equivalent boards there too, because how I couldn't travel with something that's bigger than a 7'7", and you see how much of a mission it is for those big wave dudes to travel the world for that. Which is one thing, luckily, I'm not one of those big wave dudes, but I feel for longboarders, which it's obviously a nightmare for them.
Yeah. Well, don't bring that too deep, because Joel Tudor's still going off, isn't he, about the money they get paid and stuff. And you could actually look at the comparison of how much it costs for them to travel as well. Belly has to have a quiver over there, doesn't he? Because he's been going over there as he's been going there for 30. He's been going there for 30 years every winter from when he was like a team manager and stuff like that. So you get to tap him up. Right?
You get to the. We'll try and get him on the show at one stage. It should be all right. But
that'd be all time. Yeah.
After your 5th visit there, it's not rocket science to think I'm coming here every year. I'm just going to leave some boards here.
Yeah.
You just got to find some guys, and they all are like nice enough. Yeah, no worries, man. Only problem is, what happens if they move?
Well, I would do that with France and you, but you'd probably surf them and then snap them.
No, mate, you can leave your, what do you call it? Your
Album, Townsend. Yeah.
You can leave it here, no worries.
What I was going to say, so did you at any point see any pros, see anybody? Because obviously I know the WSL had moved out of town, but did you bump into any locals or?
I surfed a perfect big sunset with Garrett McNamara. That was pretty cool.
Oh, amazing.
And he's kind of got I think he had his shoulder operated on again, which I've watched in a Red Bull thing on the plane. And he was paddling around with one arm that looked like a chicken, the way he was paddling. But he got the wave of the day on that day. And it was like a beautiful wave. Who else? Not really, huh?
Well,
apart from him. I saw some kind of older guys. Who else did I see?
Who's this? The guy.
I had a little lunch, roadside, beachside dinner, which Mark Healy and this Kimmy Werner were at, who were spearfishermen.
Yeah.
Famous, world famous. She's like probably one of the top. I think they both are like the top underwater spearfishermen in the world, men and women, and that was pretty incredible. They, a little sushi mix of raw fish and sauce that they made up was off the hook.
And tell me, who's this guy who's the guy were you staying with? Is that the big wave guy?
He surfs big waves, Liam Wilmot. Yeah, he's lived there for 19 years. And his ex-wife was like the WSL local regional manager there for like many years.
And I'm talking about the other...
and his best friend, Ben Wilkinson.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, which we'll try and get on. But it just... And like he would have, I know he would have, but the guy's got 3 kids under 5. And I saw him one afternoon and he was at the supermarket with 2 of the boys getting some cold medicine for him and stuff like that. And he's like, how's the surf? And I was going, yeah, it was pumping. He goes, I don't even have time to look. And it's not the sort of time when you go, hey, man, can I come over and talk on the podcast?
You haven't got enough time to go surf, but can you lend us 40 minutes of your time?
Yeah. But Ben, he was in the book. I told you that was on the coffee book.
Yeah.
And when you see what some of these dudes do there and how hungry they are for the outer reefs and the size waves and kind of before really big safety precautions, which Liam, who I stay with, he managed this big waves health and safety group that they put together with Cole Christensen for years. When you see what they're doing, it's kind of not even just another level, it's 4 levels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is funny because I said it for the first time in my life. Last October, I met Axel Lorenz, and so the guy who shapes he shapes Pukas boards and incredible shaper, and he was shaping Twiggy Baker this 10-foot 10-4, I think it was, board for somewhere, and Jaws. It was for Jaws. I picked it up and I was like, wherever this is for and whatever this is for, I never want to be there. So,
but you better be good to watch it.
Yeah, I love watching it, even just on the web broadcast and stuff. And I would love to go and spectate. Even I hate watching, mainly because they've overdone it now. But like Nazaré, I hate watching it, but I'd love to go there in person and watch it with bated breath, I guess. But
what's that word you use for? And what I joke to you about for people that getting used to waves or getting used to a spot. You said it when we were talking about the girls at Pipeline. Do they get exposure?
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised what exposure can do for you. I had dinner with these friends there one night, and there was this girl who's 37. She's a Canadian yoga instructor who's got a SUP school in Toronto, and she spends 8 months in Hawaii. And I said, what brought you to Hawaii? And she said, I was living in London and I went down to Nazaré on a trip. And when I saw the waves there, I realised I wanted to surf big waves. So I moved to Hawaii. And she'd surfed Waimea like 2 weeks before I was there and got 3 waves. And my friend told me she's not an incredible surfer, but
Just sends it.
That's what she's living for. And it's funny how people can get this thing in their head, man. And once they set their mind to it, they're on.
Well, I think that's a great point for anyone listening as well. And I maybe sound like I'm banging over again on the same drum, but like when I've been down to France,
don't get too hard on the drum.
Whenever I've come down to France to see you and the boys and stuff, the first day, if the waves are the same the first day as they are the third day, the first day I'm a bit intimidated. By the third day, I'm thinking, I wish this was maybe a little bigger. And then by the fifth day, I'm like, okay, now it's gone up 2 foot, and you just get more comfortable with the exposure. So it's a 100%. I can relate in a way. I still don't feel like I would ever be comfortable surfing a 10-ball gun, but who knows? Maybe.
It's such a weird thing, because I was on the beach at sunset and you're looking out at the first day and I was just going, fuck, man, that's mad. I was like, I hope it drops. I hope it doesn't have to get like big like that again while I'm here.
Yeah.
And put me to the litmus test. But between there looking at it and then going home and then having a nap and then getting the 9.6 out, waxing up, having lunch there with Ben and Liam and really getting psyched for it.
Yeah.
And having a really thick, black, good coffee. By the time I got back there and it dropped maybe 4 foot, it dropped considerably. And it was still 10 to 12 foot. And get out there and you kind of go, damn, did I miss my chance?
Yeah.
You think like that because, you don't have a lot of these chances. And then I kind of got lucky where I then had 2 other afternoons, which were really good and bigger. And like you said, that was like 4 days after I got there. Or was it? Yeah, it was Tuesday maybe, yeah. 4 or 5 days after I got there, which gives you a chance to acclimatise and get that hunger back.
Well, that's. Did you see Justine Dupont's clip, like the clip she put up the other day where she got towed into a wave at Hossegor? That, for me, I looked at it and was like, nah, fuck that shit. Whereas
I didn't.
And then you've probably gone and you'd probably see it now and go, I'd love to have a go on that. Yeah.
It all depends, because I would have nearly been, if we had had another bigger day, I would have been able to tow with my mate over there. But then there wasn't the occasion that arrived. But I'm not like, everyone to their own, but I'm not super into towing anyway, because I got a kind of a problem with my lower back where you can say, that's not Hossegor, that's Tahiti, isn't it?
No, you don't. Nah.
Yes, it is. It's Tahiti, you silly Billy.
No, you're looking at the one. No, Joanne Defay.
Oh, Joanne Defay. I was looking at Justine Dupont.
Oh, no, hey, Joanne Defay.
Not all Chinese men are the same person. Not all female.
Look at Joanne Defay's post. It was not the last 2, her third latest post, and that's my point. Though, is I look at that and go, flat. That's massive. I probably wouldn't be anywhere near that. You probably look at it and go, I'd love a slice of that.
Was that the photo she put?
Yeah,
that's pretty sick. That's fun size. Guys would have been paddling in on that day.
But that's not fun size. That's what I'm trying to say. Is it's fun size for you because you are slightly loose in the head.
No, because we're exposed to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I wouldn't go to Africa and work as a free medical volunteer in the middle of the Congo, and thousands of young volunteers do it. So there's courage in every single. There's school teachers that go in to teach kids in the heavy parts of town all over the world every day.
Yeah.
And that's 10 times more courageous. Like, people can get a little bit excited with what they think is courageous, but try going defending your house in Ukraine at the moment, would you?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what you do when you have to do it.
And in Oz, like, I listened to Ain't That Swell's poddy today, where it's nothing to do with surfing. It's all about the flood relief that because of the disaster that they had. And we spoke a bit with Josh, and I've kept in touch with like Nathan and Josh at Alvin about it. And it's just gnarly. Like, some of the things that some people are doing, like, and you're hearing the stories and you just think, man, that is it. When the community does come together like that, it's a small glimmering little bit of light in such a disaster. And some of the stories that you're hearing from Ukraine.
And on top of that, Australia's an easy spot. I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy for these people. And at the moment, there's been a lot of negligence from what I hear from the government, which doesn't surprise me because Scott Morrison's a complete wanker.
Dumb.
But that country has got a ton of money and they'll go in there and they'll fix things up. I don't know when, but people will get help. And the people in the Ukraine won't. And if it happened in a little island in Indonesia, or if it happened in some of the countries in
look at Syria,
South America, they won't get help. They won't. And the people in Australia will get help.
Hey. Well, let's not get political on this because I'll be well out of my depth.
Yeah, fuck.
Talk to me.
Fucking anarchist.
Talk to me more about Hawaii. Was there loads of bugs?
Kinda. There was a few mosquitoes before bed, but nothing more outrageous than any kind of tropical place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I had a few bugs in my undies every now and then, but I don't know where they come from.
You took those out with you.
Hey.
And
the food was good. The fish was good. That's for sure.
Give me the highlights of it.
Sunset, perfect sunset. I went over on one kind of bigger stormy day and surfed Makaha, which is over on the west side, which is mindlessly fun, hot little right-hander. But it's really heavily localised as well. And there was a couple of, you could tell, heavy locals in the lineup. And I kind of spoke to my own. I said we're pretty lucky to have the surfing winter and board shorts, and we had a chat. And he's like, "What's the call, bruv? I could be in there, big waves, man." Yeah. And you're still not going to get wave. And I got 4 waves, which was already good. It was beautiful, this place. But then driving back, that's the west side as well. There's a few homeless on the side of the road and stuff, which is worrying. Classic American sort of setup. You got $13 million homes in front of Sunset Beach now.
Yeah.
On the other side, you got people pushing trolleys around.
Yeah, nice. With that, so
eat or be eaten.
To interrupt your highlights and stuff, did you have to? Because if I went out for a surf, like say I went out for a surf this morning here, and if I paddled out, so for example, this morning I went out for like an hour, and I reckon I'm catching inside an hour 10 waves. Yeah, like minimum kind of thing. And if I caught 4 waves in an hour, I'd be disappointed. Now,
yeah, but just
no, I'm not taking. What I'm asking is,
put it in your back pocket, because one good wave can be worth 10 waves.
Yeah, so
you should know that.
I'm not questioning that. I was saying for you out there, did you have to kind of remind yourself of that, or was it not even a question? You're like, far out, I just got 4 absolute gems.
Yeah, it's kind of like what it's like. We've got the same thing here. I've seen people go red in the face and cry. And I was still paddling around trying to get away with the rip, just the rip, not even the crowd, with the rip. Go try surfing the Superbank. You can, and you got to be competitive. Like, I surfed a lot of fun, smaller spots there. One of the best sessions was just this Canadian doctor. I'm going to send him the link. I hope he listens to this. What a classic. This kid, he studied to be a doctor in Ireland. Because he saw that he could go straight from school. His sister was already working in England. This is hardcore, this kid. And he goes to Ireland, does his 6-year degree. Because he's Canadian, he can apply and put his name in the hat for a place in a hospital in the US. Douglas, there he is, Douglas. He's in London visiting his sister. He's 24, and he's set off his inscription. Where do you think he gets posted? Oahu.
No way.
Yeah, so he's pinching himself. And I paddled out at this spot. I wouldn't say where it was, and people wouldn't find it, but it wasn't along the main strip. And I went the other way with the car, and the friends there were saying, yeah, go that way, it'll be fun. I looked at a bunch of spots, and eventually I paddled out of the spot. There was 2 guys out, and it was like 2 foot when I first checked, and actually picked up, ended up being 3-4 foot sets, and perfect. And this Douglas was going, it's rare there's not many people out. And I was like, sounds good to me. And we got, 15 waves, 20 waves. And then 2 other people come out. Everyone was taking turns, and it was super relaxed, fun. And that's what's going to happen if you look and try and paddle out where there's no one, as opposed to paddling out into a crowd.
Well, there's parts of that story you can pick apart, but he's lucked out there a bit. But the reason I was asking about the four waves is that some people, when I come to France, I'm like, okay, if I get four waves in an hour and they're four decent level waves, I'm like, I am absolutely buzzing. But if I'm surfing, and that's kind of, you have to, especially when you're traveling, and this is what we're trying to kind of maybe help a few people with, is that, yeah, like you don't have to paddle out wherever you are and hunt 15 waves in an hour. You can hunt.
You can't, man. This local that I was friends with, Carl, real estate agent, 60. Plenty of older guys surfing. He got one wave at sunset one morning, and then he was off to work, and I was on the beach. And I said, how'd you go? And he goes, I got one, good one.
Yeah.
As he surfed, went out there for an hour and he got one wave, because there's quite a competitive crowd, even though it doesn't look crowded. The wave moves all over the spot. And he's 60. He's not like paddling around like a crazy man. He's sitting there, he's talking to a couple of guys. He had a good morning, it's warm water, and then he got a good wave come in and he's happy.
Yeah. I mean, and even Jackson touched on that when we spoke to him, didn't he? He said, like, sometimes people in Hawaii use it as their social aspect. They'll sit out the back and have a chat with someone for an hour that they haven't seen for a while. And
that's what Jackson would do in Newcastle, where he lives.
Yeah.
That's what everyone does in their own home spot. And it's also a sign to everyone else in the water that you're a local. Don't mess with me. People use that technique everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, yeah, I mean, I would agree that it's a four quality waves beats 20 shitty ones. So
one can beat 20.
The
only way it makes one good one to pay for your ticket, punters. So if you can, go there, and if you don't want to, don't.
Yeah, stay home.
If you're happy, and there's plenty of people that are happy to stay home and surf a local break. Let's just hope it's not absolute cack.
Yeah, or it is in the case of me, and make the most of it.
And travel, which is what you do anyway.
Yeah. Get
and
out.
try and travel cleanly, because I hadn't travelled. That's what I wanted to say as well. I hadn't travelled for 2 years, because I know in my deep heart and conscience that non-stop travelling isn't the best thing for the planet. So I'm going to really try and pick and choose.
Yeah,
and if
but
everyone tries and picks and choose, let's hope that that's going to help. And if it's not going to help, let's hope they build electric
planes,
polluting free planes. Exactly. It's a good dream, and they should be able to, think.
You'd hope so. I mean, this is where, again,
if they can put a man on the moon,
well, not even that. When you think about when was it last year? Within the space of a month, the wanker that is Jeff Bezos, the wanker that is Richard Branson, and the fat fuck that is Elon Musk, all were orbiting the Earth and in space as such. If they could do that, why are they not investing that money trying to save the planet in creating green airplanes? And
yes, that's going to be the insiders' brand strategy from now on. We're going to push for it. I'm going to look into getting us sponsored by Air France.
Yeah, that's it. But only, and they can give us free flights when they do eco flights.
and so as well, that I don't get, you're lucky. Yeah, I was lucky. I went on this trip. I got the trip because some friends gave me the ticket for my 50th birthday, and a few people that said to me, who were younger than me, are you lucky? And I said, well, I'd rather be 40 and not have the ticket, or I'd rather be 20 and not have it. So you make your own luck. And I've seen traveling surfers out there around the world making sacrifices. We make sacrifices. You make sacrifices. You could have a nice car, you could have a Bentley, you could have that city job, you could have a lot of stuff, and you go without it so that you can do this, and you go without a lot of stuff. So if someone says to you, you're lucky because you don't know it, you say, no, I'm not. It was my choice.
This is funny, because this is actually a massive topic that for the last 9 years now, myself and Emily, my missus, have always said, because we travelled Australia for 1.5 years together at the age of, I was 21, she was 20, for 1.5 years. And everybody said to us, oh, you're lucky. No. Like, let's have it right.
We saved up our ticket. We got our visa. Yeah. We did the paperwork. We got on the plane.
For 11 months at the age of 20 years old, I worked.
Didn't go out.
Yeah, I worked a 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday, and then I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on a bar, and I didn't spend a penny. And in 11 months, I saved a lot of money. And Emily done the same. She was signing up for every single overtime shift she could at Sainsbury's, which is a supermarket here in England. And we just saved up. And we wasn't lucky. We worked hard. And that's the thing is, yes, you're lucky to be able to travel in comparison to other people in the world.
Of course.
And so, I'm not saying
there's
that.
There's no denying that. And I agree with you there.
And I mean this in the biggest respect to you, but there's people that are in higher paid jobs than you, higher positions than you, more freedom than you, don't have kids like you do, who don't make these things happen. You got fortunate to get your ticket, yeah, but you made the most of it. So you wasn't lucky. You took your chance, you worked hard, and you made it happen. I got
2 kids, man. I got 2 kids, and I spent my last pennies going there, coming back before work season.
Imagine the work.
Yeah, you're going to put the food on the table.
Imagine the work Daz is going to have to do now after he's just left his wife for 2 weeks. He is going to be washing up for months. He's going to be absolutely grafting.
Yes. And talking about that quickly before we kick off this episode, I just want, because we can't talk about it all night, but I do want to mention when we're talking about hardcore travellers, hopefully we get Phil Grace on later this year, but one of my older brother, Michael, rest in peace, his best mates, and hopefully I'll get him to listen one day, Smiley, Brad Norton, legendary traveller, Indo warrior, Bali warrior, before Bali became popular. And he would go to Bali for 4 months and sleep in a warung out at Ulus back in the day when there was nothing there, on a bed he would make himself and eat rice and whatever with the locals every single day for 4 months, with no internet, no television, maybe not even a radio back then. And he could meditate, this guy. He was good at martial arts and stuff like that. And that was not luck that he did 4 months.
I was about to say, do you reckon he got, you're lucky.
He dedicated himself to the Ulus freight train.
Yeah.
And he got the rewards from it.
Good on him.
And he missed out on a lot of other rewards that he could have had, like financial rewards or domestic rewards.
That's it. You're always going to, you can always be looking over at something else, and you have to.
And long live the surf trip, fellow listeners, even if it's down the road, like the hit squad we did down to Byron Bay, and we had a keep the car clean policy, which meant we rubbish out at every car park. But that was in the good old days when we knew someone would come and pick it up.
Yeah, and even, me and the boys, we swung a 4-hour drive to North Devon. And
it's hardcore, man. It's 4 hours of driving. You could be sitting at home watching the latest Netflix series. We
do it same day. 4 hours there, surf for 2 hours, have a little bit of break, surf again, have a bit of break, surf again, then 4 hours back. And it's a 12-hour day, longer. Mad. And it wipes you up, but it's all worth it. Anyway,
especially if you're with your mates and you can fart and joke along the way, which brings me to, we'll review Mick Fanning's latest video on the next episode.
Yes. And what I wanted to ask is,
that was a bit of a burp there for you, Matt.
There you go. I was about to say, now you're an older and wiser gentleman after your travels, but I don't know if you've just proved that wrong. But
I am older and wiser.
What I was going to say is, what about a Hawaiian-inspired surfing do's and surfing don't? Something that you
do.
Yeah.
Remember exactly where you stash your key, and that could be anywhere in the world, not just Hawaii. But remember the key, because come on, you're frothing when you check pump and surf, and it's pumping. And I know I'm not alone. I've seen other people do it. You want to get out there and you stash the key, and sometimes even running down the beach, you think, "Hey, hang on, where did I put it? I'll just check when I come back in." Remember exactly where you stashed the key.
Okay. So people are going to ask, before you do your don't, people are going to ask or think, do you not keep it on you?
Well, I wanted to, but Liam was like, "Yeah, don't do that." And then I was like, "Okay, you put it in your back pocket of your board shorts. What if your boardies, sunset, 10 foot, what if your boardies get ripped off?"
I mean, yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, "Why would he tell me not to?" And when it was a big day, I didn't. And when it was, he had a second key for that. But some keys are, they're electric.
Yeah, new
Some
ones.
keys.
New ones. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this one wasn't, so it was good.
And did you pick up a surfing don't?
A surfing don't. Always in hot, warm water, hot areas, put your sunscreen on a good 30 minutes before. So don't put it on straight before you go out.
Okay.
Because you know what's going to happen. Like if you do it on your legs, then you're going to rub your sunscreen on the rails of your board. So then when you go for a duck dive, your hands are going to slip and you go headbutt the board and all those sort of things. And also it's just going to wash off straight away.
Yeah.
I've got all my sunscreen on.
Double.
Don't put your sunscreen on straight before you go for the surf. Be prepared.
That's a good one. That's actually a good one. I've not got to do this week because my don't is a little bit of a long one and maybe a little bit controversial.
It's a double don't.
It's just a one don't, but it's a big don't.
Controversial don't. Wait, I'm sitting down. Yeah, I've already seen.
My don't, which is a big one, is to do with foiling. And I mean, my don't would be don't foil.
Don't say it, mate. Don't foil. Oh.
But
I've got two mates that play this now.
No, but what my actual don't is, don't foil if you aren't in full control where there's other people, especially when they're surfing.
And that's the same with everything, because I'm not.
No, because I watched this.
Don't surf near a whole bunch of people if you can't control your board as well.
Well, yeah, but I watched a local here was on a 9.4 longboard. It's 3.5 inches thick, and it was a massive log thing. And this foiler dropped in on him because the longboarder was in early. They were going opposite ways. One was going right, one was going left, and the foiler just couldn't move. And basically, I watched a foil go through a longboard from the rail all the way to the stringer. And if that hits a human leg, like you, high chance of dying if that goes through the long thing.
Matt, I agree with you, but I'm still going to ask you that you're really going to have to work with Emily and a speech therapist on the word through, which is in the English language, which you are through. So next time someone soups or foils through each other, call the cops. Was there a fight?
No, they were, weirdly, they were mates.
Viewers, he is smiling when I take the shit out of him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've had
That's all right.
It's
mates.
Fine. Yeah.
Because you shouldn't do it near anyone if you can't control SUP, surfboard, goat boat, bodyboard's the one. We'll add a bodyboard. If you can't control a bodyboard, you can go in a crowd because it's kind of soft. It's not going to hurt so many people.
The thing is SUPs are dangerous 100%, especially if you ditch it and it's a 10-foot leash on a 10-foot board 100%. And like goat boats can be dangerous. They have very, very sharp fins, but there is nothing more dangerous in the water than a foil because it will propel itself without someone on it, and it can continue to gain speed, and they are razor sharp.
It can continue to gain speed without someone on it? Is that a scientific fact?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I don't know. Maybe.
What about a really good up himself young hot surfer trying to do a Rio in someone's grill? Getting too close to the Rio. I don't like that either.
I mean, there's etiquette, and you shouldn't just be, in general, shouldn't be a dick. But foils just sketch me out because I'm like, if they fall off, I don't actually know. Like, say you see
We're going to rephrase your don't be a dick.
Yeah,
viewers, and we'll call it a day at that.
Yeah, that's Hawaii rap.
Aloha, mahalo.
We got
Uncle Matt.
The Stab in the Dark wrap up coming with Christian Bradley. We promise that's going to happen. We just need to get in at some point.
Yes, that'll be happening for the next edition. After this, we'll do a Mick Fanning, Crosby, Collar, Farto, Connor Coffin video review, and a Bradley Stab in the Dark wrap up. And then we've got some more special guests coming.
Yeah, boy. Aloha.
Aloha, mahalo.